Hello everyone. So we will look at the top 5 questions on post implementation review. Okay, and before that, before looking at these top 5 questions, we will I will discuss few important things, which everyone needs to keep in mind while solving questions on this topic of post implementation review. And I have seen most of the questions, in the exam, if it comes, it normally comes from these 3-4 points which I will discuss with you before looking at these questions. And in the end we will also look at one of the jackpot question. Why I'm saying jackpot? Because that question is a unique question. Okay, so whatever rules I will discuss, okay, so that rules won't be applicable in that particular question. Okay, so which rules I am talking about, don't worry, we will discuss each and everything. All right, so let's start. So I'm just giving you the summary points. Post implementation review, I'm not going in depth. Okay, I'm just giving you some few tricks and tips to solve questions on this topic, post implementation review, because this is not a detailed lecture. This is a kind of a summary lecture which will also help you to understand that those 4 to 5 questions. Okay, so when we look at this topic of post implementation review, and especially questions on these topic, there are few statements which you will normally come across. Okay, so number one is, okay, now here the question will be mostly, as an IS auditor, in post implementation review phase, where will be your focus area, greatest concern. Okay, in which area you will focus while doing the post implementation review after the implementation. Okay, so there are few points. For example, project meets expectations, okay, or project meets business requirements, or can say return on investment, you can say return on the project also, returns on the project, okay, this is the first thing. Second thing, you will also look that, okay, so what I'm discussing currently here is that, as an IS auditor, what you will be looking in the post implementation review phase. So there are few things, but out of those few things, what are the most important things, and from where questions can be asked. Okay, and also till now I have not given you the rules. Okay, so I will also discuss with you the rules, and how the questions can try to trick you if you are not fully aware about the concepts and also the application of the concepts, right? So I normally say that concepts are equally important, but more important than that is application of concepts, how you will apply those concepts while doing the question, while solving the questions, because that's gonna make the difference in the exam, right? Okay, so the next thing is to determine whether proper controls were implemented. were implemented to determine whether proper controls were implemented, and point number 3 is identifying lessons learned, that may be applicable, that may be applicable to future projects, identifying lessons. The important word over here is identifying lessons learned that may be applied to future projects. Okay, or lessons learned are documented. Lessons learned are documented. Important word over here is documentation of the lessons learned. First part is saying identifying lessons. Second part is saying documenting lessons, whatever lessons you have learned. Okay, now whenever you see this kind of question in the exam, and whenever you see these kind of options, in the exam, now not each and every question will have all the 3 options. Okay, some questions might have 2 options, some questions might have only 1 option. Okay, but you have to follow this sequence 1, 2 and 3. Okay, now I have made this sequence by looking at so many questions, from the official QAE. Okay, and on the basis of looking at all these questions, I have made this sequence. Okay, so first rank you have to give to this line: project meets expectation. Okay, or project meets business requirement. So as an auditor, the number one thing, the first thing which you'll be looking at is this one: project meeting the business requirement. Project meeting the business requirements. Just a second. Yeah, all right. Okay, or return on investment. Okay, and the second rank will be given to this point to determine whether the proper controls were implemented. Okay, and in the end, the third sequence you will give to identifying lessons learned that may be applicable to future projects. Okay, now I am giving you this sequence, but as I have told you, in the end I will also discuss with you one jackpot question, where this entire sequence, where this entire flow of the ranks which I have given to these points will not be relevant. Okay, and why is it so, and in which question, we will discuss about that. Okay, but keep this 3 things in sequence in your mind. Okay, on the basis of these 3 points, we will discuss the first initial 4 questions, and in the end I will also discuss about the last jackpot question. All right, so let's look at these questions. So the first question in front of you, let me read this question: what is the primary reason? What is the primary? Just a second. Yeah. What is the primary reason that an IS auditor would verify that the process of post-implementation review, of an application was completed after a release? What is the primary reason that an IS auditor would verify that the process of post-implementation review of an application was completed after a release? Option number A: to make sure that the users are appropriately trained. To verify that the Option number B: to verify that the project was within the budget. Option number C: to check that the project meets expectation. Okay, in fact we have discussed about these things, meeting expectation, meeting business requirements in depth in domain 2 in the governance area. If you have not watched my domain 2, I have already uploaded the entire domain 2 on our YouTube channel, so you can go and watch the domain 2. There we have discussed in depth about meeting the business requirements and why that is the most important thing for any organization. All right, so here also the primary reason IS auditor would verify that the process of post implementation review was completed after a release, post implementation review. Okay, so here the answer is to check what, that the project meets expectation at the rank 1, which I have already given. Okay, let's look at the next question. The primary objective of conducting a post implementation review for a business process automation project is to, the primary objective, I'm repeating the question again, the primary objective of conducting post implementation review, okay, post implementation review is option number A, ensure that the project meets the intended business requirements. Option number B, evaluate the adequacy of controls, okay, which was rank 2 in our sequence. Option number C, confirm compliance with technological standards. Option number D is confirm compliance with regulatory requirements. Okay, now here also, some people after doing lots of questions from domain 2, in most of the questions in domain 2, you'll find that you have to go with a regulatory requirement, regulatory compliance, and all those options. We have already seen a lot of such examples in domain 2. Okay, but you have to see which question is asked from which domain. Okay, post implementation review. Okay, and here the correct answer is, based on our sequence, option number A, ensure that the project meets intended business requirements. Till here, till question number 4, you won't be having any issues if you know my sequence. If you don't know my sequence, you can get confused. Okay, let's look at the next question. The primary purpose of a post implementation review is to ascertain that, the primary purpose of post implementation review, option number A, the lessons learned have been documented, rank 3. Option number B, future enhancement can be identified. Option number C, the project has been delivered on time and budget. Option number D, project objectives have been met. The correct answer over here is project objectives have been met, right? Let's look at the next question. I think this is the question number 5, right? Yeah, so this is the question number 5, jackpot question. During a post implementation review, sorry, this is not the I'm sorry, this is the 4th question, not the 5th question. During a post implementation review of an enterprise resource management system, an IS auditor would most likely, option number A, review access control configuration, evaluate interface testing. Option number C, review detailed design documentation. Option number D, evaluate system testing. The correct answer here is rank 2, review access control configuration, right? Let's look at the jackpot question now. At the completion of a system development project, a post project review should include which of the following? Option number A, assessing risk that may lead to downtime after the production release. Option number B, identifying lessons learned that may be applicable to future projects. Option number C, verify that the controls in the delivered system are working. Option number D, ensure that test data are deleted. The correct option is option C. As per our sequence, the answer should have been option number C, which is rank 2. Okay, but here the answer is option number B, identifying lessons learned that may be applicable to future projects. Surprised? Shocked? Even I was shocked. So this is why I always say that you have to learn this skill of reading this question, not only to solve not only to clear this exam, but if you know this trick of reading skills, if you know the correct reading skills, you can not only clear CISA, but in the future you can clear so many certifications. Because most of the certification, it won't be difficult in terms of the concepts, but it will be difficult in identifying these things, in especially building your reading skills. Okay, so why why option number B is because, again, I want everyone to pause this video here, pause this video, and I would be more than happy if you can identify which is that confusing word or which is that hidden hint in this particular question. Pause this video, read the question. I'm giving you one hint over here. Okay, you don't even have to read the options. Just pause the video and read the question. Just one line question. In this one line question, there is some word which is used which was not used in the other 4 questions. All right, so I hope that everyone have paused this video and they have tried the best to identify. If you haven't able to identify, let me break the code for you. Okay, so at the completion of a system development project, okay, till here everything is going fine. A post project review is not post implementation review. Post implementation review and post project review both are different, although we use these terms very interchangeably, but these two terms have different meanings. Post implementation is something which you are doing right after the implementation, right after the deployment, right after the implementation. If you are reviewing something, that is post implementation review. But what is post project review? Post project review comes at a later stage of the project. Okay, so you have to understand one thing. That to identify lesson, do you really feel that identifying lessons is so easy? You have just implemented a particular system, and do you really believe that you'll be able to identify lessons, you'll be able to understand whether what was the mistakes so easily, so fast, so quick? Definitely no, right? It takes some time. But post implementation review is done right after the implementation, and that's why you have to understand one thing. This entire process of reviewing the project should be a continuous process. Okay, because right after the implementation, you can do your best to understand whether that particular project is meeting our requirements. But honestly, it is not that easy. It is not at all that easy. And in fact, identifying lessons learned takes a lot of time. Okay, post implementation means right after implementation, and post project means after that particular entire project, after some point of time, maybe 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, 2 year, 5 years. Okay, but at the later stage of that particular project. So that is post project review. Okay, because you might launch a new project, you might be thinking about coming with a new project, right? So this post project review is not equal to post implementation review. This was the key word here. Okay, so it is very much fine even if you are not able to identify, because these things will take some time. Okay, so this was the key word here. Okay, so that's why we have not gone with option number C here. Okay, but if the word used in this question, entire question is same, okay, in the exam you will get the same question. Okay, same question you will get, but instead of post project they will write post implementation. Okay, the answer will change. In that case, the answer will be option number C. Okay, because This is option number C is rank 2, and rank 1 is not mentioned in this particular question, right? So here that those sequence which I have given to you won't work because of a simple reason. Okay, that is post project review is different. So here the answer is identifying lessons learned that may be applicable to future projects. And you know what, the the good thing or the bad thing, I don't know, but you know, when you read the review manual, or when you read the official QA, or when you try to, you know, solve these kind of questions, you know, hardly you will get these kind of reasoning anywhere. Okay, what was the logic? But the logic, the justification, the interpretation normally given do not make sense most of the times, and it will become very much difficult to identify what was that thing, you know, why they have gone with this thing. But I'm helping you to crack the code. So here the code was because of only one word. Again, one of the beautiful question where the meaning of the question changes because of one word. I hope everyone have understood. Thank you.